Okay, hello everyone. I'm Phil Donahue, and I'll be your Unreal Authorized Instructor for today's IK Retargeting class. Now, this process is going to be you're going to find very useful when you're using to assign motion capture animations or any animations that you found in different sources that was created for characters other than those that you have in your Unreal Engine project. So before we get started, I wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to Erica Pink, Alex Pascal, and Greg Richardson for their work that they have done on previous versions of this class. And as usual, please hold your questions until the course lab after class, where we'll have time to discuss this as a group. If you fall behind, need a screenshot or clarification, go ahead and type in your questions in the lecture notes chat channel in Slack, and one of our awesome TAs will help you out. So I'm going to go ahead and got my shared screen already. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video for bandwidth, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the overview of the topics that we're going to be discussing and going over today. Retargeting is what allows you to download animations from the Epic Games Marketplace, Mixamo, or another source, including custom motion capture data, and then apply it to your character or metahuman, for example. I'll cover how to retarget a character's skeleton to be used with a group of animations assigned to an existing Unreal Engine character or to one that you've imported, as well as animations you imported to characters in Unreal Engine or that you've customized from MetaHuman Creator. So we're going to go over creating an IK rig using retargeting chain authoring, mirroring chains, solvers, setting up an IK retargeter using the skeleton hierarchy tree, transferring animations from one character to another, debugging and correcting animations that come over with issues, and then we'll look into different methods of adjustment, including modifiers, speed planting, offsets, and stride warping. So some of the sorry about that. Some of the, so we're going to go ahead with IK retargeting, the overview, some of the retargeting options in Unreal Engine 5. So it's changed a bit since earlier versions, since 5.0. The old version of retargeting animations, you either tell the skeletal mesh to look for a different skeleton, or the targeting options would be a bit different. So I'll show you those in a moment. So there's basically three different ways to approach this. The first would be translation retargeting, and this would be basically making adjustments to two characters that share the same skeleton when they're sharing animations. And then the second would be compatible skeletons. So this is similar to skeletal hierarchies, that they have similar skeletal hierarchies and they have the same named bones. So animations from the source character will appear as compatible animations for the target character, but the translation retargeting options will still be applied. And then the third is IK retargeting, and this is for characters with completely different skeletons, hierarchies, and proportions. So first you will define a set of chains for the bone chains for the source and the target, and then map them for retargeting. And this handles IK placement, such as foot and hand contacts and strides. So I want to go ahead and show you some of the documentation from how things used to be put together. So we had a retarget manager. Basically, you would click on the button retarget manager at the top, and to get it to access it. Then you'd set up the retarget manager. You'd add a retarget source, choose your skeletal mesh, and then you would basically add the open the animation sequence, skeletal mesh, set up a rig, and then you'd have to go through and actually map each bone to its equivalent from the source and to the target skeletal mesh. And so this could be an issue, especially when people name things differently, or if there was, say, multiple, say maybe one character has four spine bones or five, and then the other one has less.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah.
This is the 4.27 one. If you want to,
Yeah.
if you're doing that on purpose, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
All right, cool. Okay, just checking.
So I'm just saying this is how things used to be. And basically, you would go in and you would manage your retarget pose and make your adjustments like that. And so why would we use retargeting? Well, this document here kind of gives you an example of why you'd need to do this. So say, for instance, you have three different characters that, one is kind of a base size character, one, say, a short, stocky character, and then another one is a tall, skinny character. This may look familiar if you're working with metahumans. You'll see that they're basically come in different sizes like this. And so if you were to not retarget them, the same animation, I'm showing the representation of the base skeleton here, would basically just stretch out the short stocky character to where he would stretch out and get taller, and then the tall skinny character would be crunched down to try to compensate for the fact that the skeleton is a different size. But once you've retargeted, you've got your results for retargeting. You'll see that though there's still a representation of the original skeletal layout, it fits the character more appropriately. So how does this work? Well, there's different sort of settings on these bone translations. There's animation is one, skeleton is another. And this is, so the animation really reads the animation data and does not change. And then the skeletal is for it reads translations from the target skeleton's bind pose. And then the animation scaled is sort of a combination of the two. And then you'd use this one for your pelvis, for instance, to make sure that the height of the character is being taken into play, but also the animation. And then you would set it to recursively set translation, retargeting skeleton. And so this is kind of how things were done before. And generally, there's still a lot of that is the same, but some of the interface is different. So go ahead and continue on. So with the IK retargeting pipeline, generally what we're going to be doing is we're going to create an IK rig asset for characters that don't already have one. So in this example, we're going to be looking in Mixamo characters, and we're going to go ahead and create an IK rig asset for that. It's going to target the skeleton, and it's going to it's actually skeleton agnostic and only cares about the hierarchy, and even works for different proportioned skeletal meshes on the same skeleton. And it holds chain and solver information. And then once you've created an IK rig asset, we got to make sure that any characters that we're going to be either source or target characters have one. Luckily for us, the Unreal Engine characters such as the mannequin and the metahumans, they already have an IK rig set up that we can use. But once you've got those ready, then we're gonna set up an IK retargeter asset, and this assigns the chains from the source skeleton and the target skeleton chains. It allows for tweaks and fixes, and it transfers the animations from one skeleton to another. Sorry, I've got a very sensitive mouse. All right, so then we'll get into some different workshops in the second half of class, where we're going to be looking at how to do all this step by step. And before we continue on, I'm going to go ahead and show you basically an example of kind of what we're looking for to kind of have when we're finished with that process. All right, so here's an example here of 4 different characters. We've got the old Unreal Engine 4 Manny, we've got the new Unreal Engine 5 Quinn, we've got a metahuman, and we've got a Mixamo character zombie character in here. So what you see here is basically them doing a loop of these two different animations that were from Mixamo, and then we've got the two male characters on the left are also doing a little driving the car animation, which we had from the mocap previewer that we'll go through the process of how to set that up as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have everything that we need. So again, we're going to create 2 IKs for our two or more skeletons. Make sure that we have them if we don't already for some of the characters. Then we're going to create the retarget chain, set up the necessary target IK solvers, and then we're going to create an IK retargeter, create from the source IK rig and target the other IK rig, and then compare the models during the animation. So we're going to run an animation on both of them together and see what's different and where there's some adjustments that might be needed. And then we'll export those new animations, basically convert those animations from the source character to the target character. So it's IK rig. So what we're going to do is basically that from the project that we start with, we're going to, the next step we're going to do is we're going to export a skeletal mesh from the mannequin character. And so to do that, we're basically going to go in and we're going to go to select one of our characters. In this case, we've got Quinn, who's Unreal Engine 5 mannequin, female mannequin. Going to browse to asset, find her skeletal mesh, and actually it's the simple one that that we're going to use. So the one right next to it here, we're going to use the simple export, and then export Quinn, so that we have a copy of her, so that we can upload it to Mixamo. Okay, once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and grab. We're going to get what we need for Mixamo, so we'll go ahead and jump to Mixamo. So what we're going to do is go to mixamo.com. You could follow along with this if you'd like. And basically, you're just going to, so what, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upload Quinn, the FBX that I just downloaded or exported. And then I'm going to drop her in here. So it went down to Quinn simple, drag that in, it's going to upload. It takes a moment to process. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. And then once we've got that, we get a preview of her. And it'll ask if we want to use the new character. So that's fine. And we'll see if you start clicking through different animations that it will preview on her, but if you download them just like this, they're not going to really turn out right. That's why we're going to need to retarget. Instead, though, we do want to get a T-pose. So there's a couple ways we can match our A-pose default Unreal characters to these Mixamo T-pose characters. One is to grab this T-pose. So so when we do that, we want to make sure that it is without skin, so that we can then use that T-pose on other characters if we want. And so once we've downloaded that, then let's go ahead and get our zombie character. His name is Romero. I'm going to go ahead and search for him. So remember, notice that we're in the characters. There's characters and animations are really the only two choices over here. So we've gone ahead and seen him. So you may recognize him from the animation. So we've got the character now. We've got to clear this each time. And let's go ahead and grab some of those animations that we saw before that we were working with. So we had one called Silly Dancing. There's a couple different versions of Silly Dancing. So you'll notice that when you click on the animation, it will preview it on the character that you have that you're working with. It's being showcased. Now, the first time that you download a character, you want to make sure that it's with the skin. And so when you choose with skin, it's going to download the character FBX as well. If you need to have one character in your scene that the animation can be designated to when you import the animations. So the first time we did it with skin, second time we're going to do it without skin because we want to have the animation be able to be by itself that we can then use with other characters. So we've done that. We've gotten that animation. We've got the character and the silly dance animation. And then next we're going to go for that breakdancing animation. There's a few different ones. Looking for footwork, and there's like 3 different ones here. We're going to look for footwork 1. You can see it sort of previews it with him there. And then we're going to say, make sure it's without skin, and we'll download that one. There we go. So we've got those 3. We'll move on. So the IK Rig Editor is something we're going to be using to take that Mixamo character and build it out so that it has equivalent bones, bone chains to the skeletal meshes that we have already in Unreal Engine. So we want to basically take the animations from the Mixamo character and translate them over to the Unreal Engine mannequins and also MetaHuman. So you'll see here the IK Rig Editor. It's set up like this. Generally, it's stretched out a bit, but a little taller. But you'll see here that we've got our reset here. We can simply hit that to reset everything back. Save and browse. We've got this section here, which is our skeletal hierarchy. When we first open this up, we'll probably want to go to Window, Window, Bones, and then View All Hierarchy. So we'll be able to see all of this. We'll go through this in a bit. And then the third section here is our solver stack. This is where we can add solvers. We can add full body IK rig. We can add solvers for hands and feet. This is our viewport where we see our character and its hierarchy. And then this is our details panel, very important stuff. And then of course our asset browser over here, which is where we will see any related animations that are available for this character. And you'll see on the other tab here where it says IK Retargeting, if you click on that one, it's going to show the chains that have been created that you created from selecting bones in the hierarchy, which of course we'll go through. So with the IK rig setup, we're going to, again, create these IK retargeting chains, go through that process a couple of different times. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You can do it with or without goals. And you can either mirror or you can just do them step by step. We'll go do that both ways. And you want to make sure that the one of the most important things is that you have the retarget root set to pelvis, or in the case of Mixamo characters, I believe it's called hips. And so you're going to segment the skeleton into different chains. So you're going to select things that go together. So essentially, like in this case here, you'll see that for left leg, you've got the thigh as the starting bone, and then the foot as the end bone for the left leg. Similar for the right leg. For the left arm, we've got starting with clavicle and ending in hand. You can actually start with the upper arm and then go to hand as well. That way, you have clavicle as its own chain by itself, which can give you some additional ability to fine tune if you need. And then so spine, basically you start with the first spine bone and the last one, and then for hands and such, there's usually several bones in the hand. You want to make sure, or in each finger, so you want to make sure that each finger chain, you've got a different chain for each one. You don't always need to create the chains for the hand, depending on what your animation looks like, if you need that type of detail. And then, so you're gonna set up your target settings. You're gonna set the IK goals to assist the limbs. So when you have a goal, you'll see some of these have goals, some don't. And so if you've got a goal, it's basically going to target that spot in the animation to try to compensate for any drift or any differences in the limbs. And then full body IK is one of the solvers that we can use as well. Okay, so on the IK rig setup, we've got this is our solver stack. There's our full body IK example. And there's a lot of different options you can use here. You can do a body mover, a limb IK, full body IK, whole solver, and then you can set transform. And so again, we're going to want to do 2 IK rigs. So basically, we're going to go through this whole process kind of like the long way first, where we have the manual one chain at a time, and then we're going to mirror the one side over to the left side over to the right side without any goals and test that out. And then we'll create chains kind of the short way by grabbing several chains at once and creating them, like for instance, all the fingers at once. And we'll show how that's going to, it's kind of smart on how it can tell, it knows by the naming, by the hierarchy of each bone, what parts are supposed to be in a chain and which are not. So if you have several chains selected at once, it's going to prompt you to add a name for each one. We'll go through that in a little bit. And then we'll add that with the full body IK rig and with goals in the second round. And we'll see how those differ. And remember, you can always create more than one IK rig for a character if you like, and test different things out. And then for the IK retargeter, we're going to do an overview of everything that basically everything that I've done so far in this project and everything that we're going to do. So first of all, the project that's available upon Smash Cut, it's basically created a third-person character or a third-person project in the games template, which I think everybody knows how to do that by now. And then what we did is I imported a metahuman. And I'm not sure if you've gone over that process yet, but I'll show you really quick what the next thing was importing metahuman. So this is the process here. So you're going to go to Windows and then go to Bridge. This opens the Quixel Bridge. Just a moment, I'll put it in a different window. And so I went ahead and docked it up. This is what the Quixel Bridge looks like if you haven't seen it. Then you're going to click on Metahumans, and if you're not logged in, it's just going to show you these previews, these sort of templates, preview templates that are available. You can download any of these characters the way they are, or you can manipulate characters. And then if you do log in, like I just did, you'll see that under my Metahumans are some characters that I've created, and here's Victoria Song, who, if you've looked in the project or you've seen the preview earlier, you'll see that that's the metahuman we have in our project. So you basically choose the quality that you want, click on download. It'll take a little while to download, and then you click on add to add to project. Once you do that, you'll see that in the content metahumans folder, there's a common folder for that all the metahumans share, and then you'll have another folder that is named after the character that you named, and that is the skeletal mesh there. So that's the process of doing that. And then the next thing we'll do, the process of creating these two rigs. So once I've brought in the metahuman, you also want to make sure that you have the proper plugins. So the plugins that you need to make sure the metahuman plugin's set up, and then also the animation warping if you're going to be doing the foot warping, the stride warping, pose warping. So make sure that this is selected. It won't be selected in the project. And then once you've downloaded the Mixamo character and animations, which we did, you're going to obviously want to import those. And then for creating the IK rig, we're going to choose a character. We're going to select the skeletal mesh and choose character bones all hierarchy. So we're going to go ahead and this is going to be what our hierarchies looks like once we bring in our character and we set up a new IK rig. We're going to want to select a chain of bones, and we're going to right click and say new target chain from selected bones. And then it'll prompt us to name that. We also want to make sure that we have our retarget root to be pelvis. So we'll set that on a right click as well. And we're going to segment both skeletons into a series of similar chains. Once we've done all that, we're going to select each one will be set up with the right click and assign new chains. And then we're going to add IK goals to the target skeleton's rig. And this is good for the hands, feet, limbs, but it's not required for the source rig. All right. And then after that, we'll connect the chains and we'll transfer animations. Now the next set will be essentially going through those chains is going to be choosing things like spine, the the first and the last one. Set it up. First, we're going to go through without any goals. We're going to create one for the neck, one for the head. You can either create one for each shoulder, or you can have the shoulder be included in the arm. So the first round, we're going to do the whole left arm and left leg. And we'll skip the fingers, and then we'll mirror the left side to the right side, and it will keep the it will realize that basically everything's got the same naming conventions, with the exception of one is left, one is right, and so it'll mirror that over, so you don't have to actually go through and do it all again on the other side. And then we're going to set up a T pose for our character, or an A pose for our character, depending on which way we're going. We're going to need to create a retargeter for each set of animations that we want to bring over. So if we have animations coming from the Mixamo character to the Unreal mannequin, then we'll have to have a retargeter with that source and target. So we'll have to have our mannequin in a T pose. That's why we downloaded the T pose from Mixamo. And then if we're going the other way around, we'll either need to, like say for instance, we want to bring some animations from our maybe the walk and run animation from our mannequin over to our Mixamo character. We can do that as well. We'll just need to create another retargeter that's going to have match the A pose essentially. So we can either do either change the mannequin to T pose, or we can change the Mixamo character to have an A pose. So we'll go through all of that later on. And then the metahuman and the mannequins already have IK rigs are automatically set up for you, so you don't have to worry about setting those up. We'll just create a retargeter, and this will be associated with the origin character. So we go to animation, IK rig, and then IK retargeter. That's where we'll find that. We'll set the source and then the target. And then we'll move it over in the offset. So there's basically a target actor offset. We'll drag this over, and then because when they come in, they're going to be on top of each other. So we want to make sure that we can see the two next to each other when we're changing our poses and when we're applying our animations, so we can see the differences between the two. And then we're going to go to all target bones. With the Mixamo characters, we're going to make sure that while we're going through all the bones, we want to put none as the, so you'll see here that the target chain and source chain with things like metacarpals, the Mixamo character does not have those, so we're going to make sure we say none on those. And then anything that's IK related, we're going to also say none because it doesn't have any IK stuff. So we're going to set all these up, map these together, and you'll see we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are our 4 different sections of the editor. This is the first is the toolbar and pose tools. The second is the viewport, where we're looking at the 2 characters together. Third is the details panel, and the fourth is chain mapping and animation pose asset browser. Make sure with the chain mapping also that the roots match. So you want to make sure that we have the pelvis as the root for both. Don't get confused about the fact that the Unreal Engine characters have another part that's above the entire hierarchy, which is called the root. That is something different. That's not the root we're talking about. We're talking about the root of the hierarchy, which is right below the root on the Unreal Engine characters. The Mixamo characters and others do not have a root above that. And then you want to check, once you've got this all set up, you're going to assign an animation to look at the 2 running together next to each other, and you'll see the issues that may have occurred, some things that might have not come over properly, and then you're just going to want to tweak those details by either doing some IK adjustments here, and there's a few different ways we can do this. I'll show you some different options. And then once that's all done, then again, we'll connect the chains and we'll transfer the animations. So once we set up all those, we want to make sure that the new pose is, we have a new pose because we want to match the 2 poses. If you've got one in an A pose and one in a T pose, the animations aren't going to come out right because the arms are going to have a different origin spot. So you'll end up finding most of the time that the animations, the arms will clip through the body, or they'll be in the wrong positions when they're moving. So we want to make sure that that happens. There's a couple ways you can do that. We can actually create the T pose manually, or we can import a T pose that basically comes in as an animation, and we'll be able to just basically set that as our pose. So I'm going to go ahead and show you an example of that real quick, of the manual version. So what we'll do here is we're going to create the animation, IK rig, IK retargeter, name it accordingly. So we're going to call this one Manny 4 to Zombie, and Manny 4 to the zombie. So we're going to go ahead and double click on the, or we're going to select the Unreal Engine 4 mannequin, and then it's just labeled as character for the Mixamo character. So you'll see that they come in on top of each other. We're going to drag over the X target mesh offset, so we can bring that, bring the Mixamo character over. And with this one, we're actually taking from Manny to the Mixamo character. So we want to change one of them to match the other. So I'm going to go ahead and created a new pose. You see there's a default pose there. I could have selected it to T pose there, or I can, I'm going to show you the way to create a new one. So if you create a new one, you'll see that I'm going to change this to T-pose Manny. So we'll still have the default pose if we want to bring anything over from another character that has an A pose. And you'll see that I can, when I hit edit mode, I can select the specific bone and manipulate that. So clavicle actually is going to work. I'm going to go ahead and go to upper arm, and I want to match the other pose as best as possible. So I'm going to kind of eyeball it here from the front view. I'm going to select my upper arm for each, drag it out to about the right spot. Down a little bit there, and then I'm going to go my top view, and I'm going to see that the arms are bent a bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and change that as well. So I'm going to straighten out the arm by manipulating upper arm. Lower arm. And then the hands look like they're a bit turned as well, so I'm going to bring those in. I probably could do a bit better of a job on this one. I think the arms are kind of pushed back a bit compared to the target character, but go ahead and look at that. Let's kind of take a look at the hands. Let's kind of straighten them out a bit. And then now when I hit the show target pose, it's going to it's going to show without the retargeter and then run the retargeter. And so now we're targeting the zombie character to be like the original pose of Manny. So using the A pose. And then remember, we've selected the IK rig for each, which I had already created. We'll go through that process together. And you'll see that once you select an animation, this is so this is our source character, so it's showing Manny's animations. This is an animation that I got from the mocap previewer. Now you'll notice that his neck is acting a bit weird, so I'm going to fix that. Zombie character's neck is in the chain mapping. You'll see that his head is associated with his neck. So I'm just going to turn that off, and now that'll snap in place. And so if I preview that again, and you'll see that it's working a bit better. So the main situation is getting the chains bones correct, and then once you got that situated, then you can do fine tunes after that. So here's them getting into the car, and then we're basically looking around. So we can do our fine tunes after that. So this is basically the process of the basic process of doing the IK retargeter. We'll save that, and then so the next thing we do, of course, is we can. So I'm going to take this and duplicate the animation that we're just working with. And we're going to choose the IK retargeter that we just were working with, and we want to make sure that we can do a so we can do a prefix, so it'll rename the new copy, and I'm just going to put zom underscore to retarget it to zombie, and I've changed where the destination folder is going to be so that the animations for the Mixamo character is where it's going to land. And there it is. So now that I've got that animation available for the zombie character, I'm going to choose that. And sometimes this it acts a little weird when you add an animation. It's not showing up right here, so I wasn't able to grab it. But then when I finally, so basically what I did is opened it and closed it and reopened it, and then I was able to grab that. So you can see I've got the timeline fixed here, and I'm dragging this long animation. So this is from the mocap previewer, and so it's a long animation, a series of animations that were all put together as one. Now I could save this out as a shortened version. I can save a copy of it, just the piece that I want, or I can just do my editing. I can kind of trim it here in the sequencer. So the thing is, since this isn't a root animation, it's got, the root stays where it's at when everything changes. So when the mocap actor started the process of recording, they were at this position as in relation to where they were when they were sitting down. And so I had to move the character over and use the transform to set a key in order for that to work. So that's basically that. And the next thing, so there's going to be, we're going to go through a whole process of debugging and corrections, fixing the different animation issues. And so basically, we've set up the Manitou, we've imported it, and then the next step, well, I did mention mocap previewer, so I want to go through that process real fast as well. So I want to show you how we got the mocap previewer set up. So if you look into Smash Cut, go into week 2, and you look at just underneath the mocap workflows Move AI class that we had the guests in, and Gabby was working with. You'll see down at the bottom it says download mocap previewer. So you download it, it'll go into your downloads folder, and then you have to unzip it, extract all, and then inside of that folder you'll see there's a video that tells you some things. There's a tag list, there's a feature list. If you want to go into that folder and double click on this application file here, and it's when it launches, it's going to look like this, but your operating system might give you a little bit of a warning, telling you that it doesn't trust it because it's an executable. It thinks it may be a virus or something. Trust me, it's not. Just go ahead and say other options, and then run it anyway, and it'll run. And mind you, this looks like it's Unreal, and it was created in Unreal, but it's actually its own executable. So you're not actually running the Unreal Engine editor right now. So this is the Echo character, and basically what I did is I went ahead and typed in walk up there at the search. There's a bunch of different keywords you can use if you want to just get a walk or something. And I was just looking for something simple. There's 138 things with walks. Here's an Echo with the stairs. But I wanted to get something with Manny in it, since I already had Manny, the Unreal Engine 4 Manny, in the project. So I continued to kind of search through that. I'm going to scrub ahead at time a bit. There are some additional things in here we can talk about, like you can forward to different animations. You can speed up and slow down the animation there. You can, this is sort of a section here where it says 2, where it starts off 2 seconds in, because the mocap actor starts recording and then walks to his position. And so usually 2 seconds in is we want to cut out that first 2 seconds so we can see what's going on. Otherwise, it'll all look the same in the beginning. And then you can also change the camera. You can rotate the camera around and do that. So there's a bunch of different ones we saw here. I'm going to go ahead and go to the one that we found here. This is the drive, exit, car door, close, walk, look around. So I went ahead and downloaded that one. And that's the one I ended up using. So I just wanted to show you guys how to do that if you haven't tried that. And then, so transferring the animations to the new character through the asset browser, which you showed, is the next step. And then we'll select all the animations to copy, and then export the selected animations, send to the content folder that we wanted, and then we added a prefix so we know which one is which, so it's not just named the same as the previous one. And then we add the character to the sequence and add the animation. We did that. And then we obviously as well, if you add like a metahuman, for instance, into the level sequence, you already know to delete the control rig first before you add the animation track. And then we're going to do this a couple of different ways. We're going to do the IK retargeter from the mannequin to the metahuman after we've done the Mixamo to the mannequin, because the mannequin and the metahuman are very similar. So those will come over pretty quickly. And then we'll test those out. We'll export to selected, and then we'll go into second metahuman, the second retargeting. There's some adjustments we can make as well, which I'll show you. There's a rotation alpha. There's a few different things. We'll get into those. Talking about debugging corrections. And then we'll do the Mixamo setup with the animations wanted. We'll take a look at all this stuff. Basically, we're going to walk through all this step by step, so I don't need to go through it too much here. But in the debug section, we will look at adding a full body IK solver. We'll also look at adding chains with goals, and we'll see how things turn out by doing these different things. And then we'll get into foot sliding. So another thing so we looked at this already, the pose editing. You can create a new one, align the poses. You can alter a pose, or you can assign a pose asset. For foot sliding, you can add a data modifier. You can add a modifier, extract motion extractor, go into the FB full body IK settings, and then we can look at speed planting. So first I want to show you for foot sliding. Here's one method that's useful here. In our documentation, this shows kind of like what the original retargeting results might be. The character's kind of, his feet are sort of sliding around. You can see that right there. And then after we modify the target results using speed planting, we can actually get these legs to sort of look a little bit more natural rather than slide around. So to do that, we can go into add data modifiers, and we can extract some motion, and we can grab that information. We can apply it, get some curves on here, and we can actually use this to translate and fix that. We can create new IK goals, add solvers, apply goals, assign the goals. And then we can also, if we create these goals, these solvers for our feet, for instance, we can grab those and adjust them. And then under speed planting here, we can bring in our curve that we were editing. We can change the speed threshold, the unplant stiffness, and the unplant critical dampening. And then once we've got all that set up, then we should have should fix the sliding, we should fix the planting, and it should look much more natural. And another way here is to go into the full body IK method. And in here, we can actually get a little bit more detailed, and we can add, we can create a forward solve, full body IK. I think you might have seen some of this already. Get controls, affect that, and have a solver this way, and then you can actually move things around. Change your bone settings, make some additional edits as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and show you a quick video on before we take our break, I'm going to show you a quick video on speed planting that I put together. Or this is actually the one from Greg Richardson's example. So he had created a speed curve and set that up. So you'll see that when he turns on and off the speed planning, it's affecting the left and right leg. You'll see that that's affecting where the feet are planting on the ground. And then for stride warping, I've put together, I have an animation going from zombie to the metahuman. And you'll see here if I change the warp forwards that her legs spread, kind of go forward a bit more. So she's got longer strides. So we can adjust that. We can move around to see kind of how much we want to do that. We kind of adjust it back and forth. Also, we can warp splay, which basically has her limbs spreading out away from the body or closer in toward the body, depending on what we want. And we can also do a sideways offset. And then once, so we should have a chance to do all of this and take a look at all that after the break. And then if we have time, we did have a bit of an interest in the crowds tutorial. I mean, this class used to involve crowds as well. So if we do have time, I'm going to go through that process. And here's just kind of a quick preview on how to create crowds. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to create a nav mesh bounds volume. We're going to drag that into the scene. We're going to scale it up. We went into top view so we can kind of get a better idea as to, and it could go past the bounds. It isn't necessary. It's not going to walk off the, over the walls. So we've got this this bounds volume. We're going to move it into place, and it's a little hard to see where it is. If you look up, you kind of see there it is, but there's a hotkey for this to see when if it's working. It's P, and for path tracing, and you'll see I hit P there, and that went ahead and showed you where the characters can move now. If I expanded this in the Z-axis upward, I could have them go up onto those platforms as well. And so then the next thing we do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into the third person character blueprint, and we're going to right click and we're going to duplicate that. And we're going to call this crowd character. And then I'm going to go in, we're going to delete everything out of the event graph. And we're basically going to create an event begin play. I'm going to delete the variables and the camera boom and everything out of here that we don't need. Follow camera. And then we're going to go and we're going to change a couple of things here. We want to make sure that we want to change our movement rate so that they're not going super fast. 90, I think 94 or something is the spot where in the animation blueprint it changes from walk to run. So unless we want to be running around, we can change the offset. 92 will make sure that they don't do more than walking. And then we want to also change, we want to have our use RVO avoidance. We want to select that and change an avoidance consideration radius so that they don't bump into other characters. And you can even do some things where you can add an avoidance volume where, say, if you have a cinematic that's going and you want to, you don't want them to see that, or you don't want them to bump into it. You want the crowds moving, but you don't want it to move. So here's basically the blueprint. You're going to get controlled pawn. You're going to get the actor location. You're going to set the random reachable point within radius. Do a simple move to location. So basically, it starts here, begin play, and it's going to be do this. We're going to say the controller is self because we're inside of the controller file, and then the goal is going to be that any controlled pawn. It's going to look at any controlled pawn, get their location, and it's going to have them go to a random place within 3,000 centimeters. And then we're going to actually, if we did just that, they would each move to one spot and they would stop. So we want that to delay and actually go through that process again. So they go from one spot to another and then change direction and move to another. So basically we created a random float and range, and we selected from 2 to 5 seconds. So that's going to happen. And so what'll happen is they're gonna do that. They're gonna go around, make sure you compile and save each time you work with the blueprint. And then we want to make sure that in the class defaults of the character itself that we've got set the AI controller class. And then we want to make sure that that controller class is set instead of so the default is AI controller. We want to change it to our new one, which we created, which was called Blueprint Crowd Controller. So once you've got all that set up, then we'll go ahead and test it out. And you'll see the characters are walking around. I've changed the mesh on some of the characters, and then I also so I changed the avoidance a bit. And so if I don't want them to bump into these characters right here, these ones that we're having in the cinematic, then I can put a nav modifier volume in here, and then they won't go within that space. So this can also be true if, say, there's something in the way that you don't want them to, maybe an arrow area or something. So anyway, we'll go over that when we get go over all this when we get back from the break. And so I'm going to go ahead and go back to our default slide here, and we will take a 10-minute break. It is 9 o'clock Pacific time. So
all right, Phil, thanks for that. We'll go ahead and pause recording, and we'll just hold for 10 minutes.
Sounds good.
All right, recording has resumed.
All right, thank you. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we'll go ahead and open up the Unreal Engine project. It should be the one that we had up in Smash Cut. Go ahead and double click that. While that's opening, let me get back to where we were here. And yeah, so I believe this is where we're at. So we're duplicating and exporting. We did that. So we're going to show all that. And basically, you just export the animations. So we're going to get into our workshop doing all that and creating new animation assets. Okay, so here is Unreal Engine. All right, so this is, again, exactly the project that we have up there. So there's nothing, no work done in this one. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera just in case for some bandwidth. We'll get going. All right, so it's just a third-person template. And in here we've got, the only thing I've done here is I've put these characters in here. The first thing I probably want to do is you'll notice that my MetaHuman has got an issue with her hair. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click on her and say Browse to Asset. Open that up. Just double-click. And so we can do here in the viewport, you notice that when we get closer, so her shaders are still compiling a little bit, but her hair will come back. But if we click on LOD sync over here, you'll notice that we can force LOD. So if we just put 0 there, then it's gonna solve the problem. So we can go ahead and compile and save that. Now, no matter how far away I go, her hair will stay on. So here we are again. First thing we want to do is, we're gonna we imported, we already have this character in here, but you know, as you know, the process is simply, I'm going to go here with my imports and grab Romero the zombie, bring him in, and the first thing we want to do when we do this is we want to make sure that we don't have a skeleton selected for the first time, and then once we've done that, we can grab our animations, which we have here. You can drag those in, and with that one, oops. So we can actually grab both of them if we want. Drag them in case anyone has additional animations that they want to put in, if they've downloaded any other ones from Mixamo. Then you're just going to select the correct skeleton that they go with. So when you import, you can import all if you choose to put a bunch of them in. I already have them in here though, so I just wanted to go make sure that everybody knows how to do that. And the next step is going to be that I want to grab my T-pose. I don't believe I put that one in, so I'm going to go to content here, characters, and I'm going to take this T-pose and I'm going to drag this in. And put this in for SK mannequin. Go. Make sure I have everything I need here. Okay, and I believe that's everything. So, we have so we also downloaded from Mixamo, or sorry, from the mocap previewer this animation for Manny. So over here in Manny, I can go to Manny, which is Mannequin Unreal Engine 4. Go to animations. It's got a jog animation there now, but I'm going to go ahead and grab the drive exit car, drag that in there, and make sure that this is set up for Manny. And when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you'll see there's two SK mannequins. The second one is mannequin skeleton. So SK mannequin skeleton. And you'll notice that if you look at the path there, it's the Unreal Engine 4 version. So you can also see the preview there as well. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm choosing the right one. Say import. And then that'll bring that one in. And I think that's everything we need. So hopefully that came in all right. Seems like maybe taking a moment. It is kind of a large animation, so it might be taking a moment for that reason. Okay. Once we've got that in there, continue on. Apologize for the wait. I'm going to see if I'm going to see what's going on. The fun wheel is having some issues. Seems like it's doing okay. Just in case, though, I'm going to kill it. Then I'm going to run it again. Apologize for that. So we don't need that one necessarily, or we can continue on without that animation? It may have actually come in. We'll see how it populates. Should be that the other things we brought in should be able to be restored. We'll find out. All right, there we go. So yeah, it doesn't look like that one came in, but we do have the T-pose, I believe. Let's see, characters, mannequin. Let's see here if we get the T-pose. Nope, I guess not. Okay, so I'll bring that in again. Apologize about that. Okay, so in the imports, I'm just going to grab what I need here. I just need the T-pose. So I'll bring that in. And bring in for the metahuman, no, not the metahuman, the stay mannequin. And there we go. And that should be everything we need. Everything else should already be in the project. So we'll go ahead and continue. All right, so we need to create, go ahead and save all. I'm going to create a an IK rig for our character. So in here we've got our Mixamo character, we've got Romero right here, and I want to create an IK rig for him. So I'm going to go over here and go to animation, IK rig, and create an IK rig. I'm going to call this.
Hey, Phil.
Yes.
Some people are just trying to catch up right now. Do you mind giving like a couple minutes for people to catch up?
Sure, no problem.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. So just a zombie IK rig, and so I just created that. And come back to that. You guys are need a couple minutes. Maybe I'll try that. I'll try the animation again. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just getting those assets that you were using. So maybe like you could reiterate the process.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. So if I go back to content, so this should all be exactly the same as the project that you guys downloaded from SmashCut. And all I did was, so, in content, characters, you'll see Mixamo folder. And in the Mixamo folder, the character's there. So you shouldn't need to download him. And inside the animations folder, we've got the two animations that we downloaded as well. So that should all be set up for you guys. And let's see, in mannequin, let's see, in the mannequin folder here. Actually, I think I put it in the content. Yeah, I put the T-pose here. So yeah, the T-pose is the only thing that you guys probably don't have in there. It's not absolutely necessary. It's just, exporting the, remember I exported the, this character here. I went to, let's see, browse to asset first, and then I went to simple actually, and then right click, and then I went to asset actions export, and then I was basically able to just export it FBX, and then I brought it over to Mixamo, uploaded it, and then I went and downloaded the T-pose. So the next thing I'm going to do here that I also did is I'm going to, I could either browse to asset, or actually another way to do it is when I have the metahuman selected, I can click on edit blueprints. And in here, I go to viewport, and this is for that hair issue, if you guys missed that. So it's LOD sync. And then over here in the details where it says forced LOD, just hit 0 and hit compile and save. Pop back over, and now she's got her hair. So hopefully everybody's caught up. Now I'm going to go back to content, go back to my characters, and I'm going to go into my Mixamo character, and I went ahead and what I did here is all I did is right-clicked. I went to animation, and then down to FK rig, and I created an IK rig. And then I named that IK rig. We called it Zom for zombie. We call him Romero, whatever. Zom IK rig. So now that I've gotten that, I'm going to go ahead and double click that. I'm going to dock it up here. And there's nothing here because I haven't told it what my preview skeleton is going to be yet. So over here in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to go over here, and if you just download him from Mixamo, he's just going to be called character. So we'll go ahead and select character, and we'll see Romero standing there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through this process of creating the chains. So basically, we've got the character, we've got his hierarchy here, and what you might want to do is go to let's see, Windows. No, I'm sorry. Right here, character, bones, and then you want to select all hierarchies. So then now we can see all of his skeletal, his hierarchy here. And then, so we just basically want to go through, I'm going to go through this first time and just basically manually do it one by one. So first of all, we've got our hips. The first thing we want to do is call this we're going to set hips as its retarget root. So now we've got the retarget root set. And then we want to go in, and the next thing we see here, we have spine. So I'm going to select spine 1 through 0, 1, 2. With all those selected, so I shift selected for that, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say new retarget chain. Okay, now it's thought about it there, and it said spine is probably a good name for that. So I'm just going to add chain. So I'm going to do it again later and show you how it works with the goal. So for now, I'm just going to do add chain, and now I've got a chain here that's going to pop up right here, spine 2, and there's no goal. And so we've got the spine chain. And you'll see there that it's going to be populating. So next we've got neck. I'm just going to go ahead and create neck by itself. I'm going to call this a new target chain, neck, add chain. Do the same for the head. I'm not going to select head top. I'm just going to select head. So your retarget chains can be just one bone, or it can be multiple bones. So we're going to create a head bone, or a head chain, and then I'm going to go over here, and with my shoulder I actually want to create I could make this part of the arm, but because it doesn't always, I would say my personal preference is I would make it its own chain. So Left shoulder, I'm going to call this left clavicle, simply because I know that in the Unreal Engine skeletal meshes, they're called clavicle, this bone. So I've created a left clavicle. And then I'm going to go over to my left arm, and I'm going to say left arm, left forearm, left hand. I'm just going to do those 3 for now, and I'm going to create another new retarget chain. This one's going to be called left arm. Add the chain. And then next I'm going to go down a bit. I'm going to skip the hands, and we'll see how things are different when you use the hands or not. And then I'm going to go down past all these fingers here, and then I'm going to pass my right stuff, and then I'm going to go back to where I've got my left again, where I've got my leg. I'm going to go left up leg, and left foot. Just those 3. Right click again, and I'm going to say new target chain, and this is going to be left leg, that chain. All right, so now I've got all of these, and so, you know, I don't have more than one spine or more than one neck or more than one head, but I do have more than one clavicle and more than one arm and more than one leg. So if I click just right in between these, see, not on the actual button here, but in between them, I can select, let me try this again. I can select see how it selected the entire thing, and then I can hold shift and click and select all 3 of these. And then I can right click, and again, in that little border area, and I'm going to say mirror chain. So again, I clicked on the border of this section, and then I shift clicked on the border of that one, and then to select them all, and then I right clicked on that border, and then I went to mirror chain. Just go ahead and mirror chain, and it's going to pop this up, and it's going to say, hey, left clavicle, right clavicle, add chain. Left arm, right arm, add chain. Left, and then, you know, left leg, right leg. All right, so there we go. So now we've got all these other ones selected. So all of the right stuff is now selected, is now created. So we've gone ahead and created that. So we're good. And we could do some things like we could create solvers if we wanted. We could, you know, if we create goals, we can basically create, you know, hand or feet goals if we want. But let's just do it the basic way now, without any fingers, without any goals, and we'll just keep it like that. So we're going to save this this zombie IK rig. We're going to go back over to our project, and let's go ahead and let's get Quinn going. So I want to right click here, and I'm going to create, I'm going to go to animation, IK, and in this time I'm going to select IK Retargeter. Again, Quinn and you know, the mannequins and the metahumans, they already have IK rigs, so I don't need to set one up for them. They're already created. So I'm going to go ahead and select IK Retargeter. I've got a new IK Retargeter, and we want to probably call this something that's going to make sense. So I'm going from the zombie animations, and I'm going to put them on Quinn. So I'm going to say Zom to Quinn, IK RET for Retargeter, and I'm going to open that up. And when I do that, it's going to ask me what my source IK rig is. So remember, I'm going from the zombie, and there's his IK rig we just made. And then I'm going to the to Quinn, which is a mannequin. She's not the UE4 mannequin, she's the IK mannequin, which is for Unreal Engine 5. And if you're not sure, you can see in the path there, like if you look at this, it's got UE4 rigs. Here it just says mannequins rigs. So I'm going to select IK mannequin. It's already there, and you'll see it pops up like this, and it looks kind of strange because you know, they're on top of each other. So the first thing I want to do is I want to grab the target mesh offset over here, And I'm going to grab this and drag over until I see that there's plenty enough room for them to be animated and such. And actually, I'm viewing Manny, which is fine, but I'm looking at Quinn here, so let's we're working with her. So let's put it to Quinn. So there she is, and now we've got these two characters next to each other. We've got a source rig or a source hierarchy and a target hierarchy. And you'll see that the target hierarchy has Quinn. She's got clavicle is what they call the shoulder blade, and we've got some things like middle metacarpals, and we've got some IK stuff going on. There's some things that are not going to work with this guy. So what we want to do is first of all, we need to figure out our pose here. So she's in the A pose, he's in the T pose. And if I just run the retargeter and I try to do this, it's gonna try to compensate, and it's not really gonna work out very well. So let me figure out what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna take the target, which is her, and I'm going to take it from the default pose, and I want to create a new pose. And remember, we grabbed that T pose, so I'm going to go create. Now we could create a new one. We could manipulate her bones on her rig or her hierarchy to match the T pose, or we can just go down here and say import from animation sequence. So even though it was a pose, it's technically an animation sequence. So I'm going to go to T, and you'll see T pose. I've got I believe that's where that's at. So we're gonna in the game. So let's see, import as retarget pose, and there she is. So that's a quick way to do that. And don't worry, we're going to go through the manual process as well. I'm going to do this again. So here we go. We've got her in her T pose. Now things are looking good. We run the retargeter, and you'll see it kind of compensated slightly. His pose is slightly different, the way his stance is. So we've got that. So now now that we've got that situated, we're going to go over to the source, and we're going to look at how this works, how this is set up. So the first thing is we've got root, and we don't have a root on him, so we don't want that to be associated with the neck. We do have spine, we do have head, we have left clavicle. That came over properly because we named it left clavicle. We've got the left arm, left clavicle, the lower arm. Okay, so the lower arm should not be left clavicle. The lower arm should be left arm. So all the arm stuff should be left arm. And then remember, I said metacarpals. He doesn't have metacarpals, so we're going to have to say none on that. And then, so for the index finger, we didn't set that up. We didn't set up any of the fingers. So we're going to say none on all this. We'll see how that turns out. We may have to adjust that. Definitely metacarpals are going to be none every time, but we didn't really set up the fingers on this first round. So let's set all of those to none. Now we've got a left. Okay, so that's definitely wrong. Left ring finger is not going to go to left leg. So this was sort of the automated process that came in when we set up our retargeter. Left upper arm twist. So the twist, anything we see that's twist is an IK thing. We need that to be none. So anything twist is none. And right clavicle is fine. Right hand So right arm is good, and the right hand goal is fine. And then the lower twist, anything twist is IK. We're not going to use that. Metacarpal, nothing. The right pinky, okay, so we didn't set up any of these. So we're going to say none on all these fingers. And metacarpal, and the middle finger, and the metacarpal, and the right index. So all these fingers are going to go set to none. And there are a few different ways to do this. So we're going to test this out to see how it works, and we're going to do it again as well. So the right leg is fine. Right leg. The twist, again, is not something we're using. And so we're going to change all these twists to none. And then we're going to go into left leg is fine. Left leg twist, again, is none. Twist, none. Twist, none. Thigh twist, none. And then anything IK. So left foot IK, right foot IK. None of this stuff is going to be used. And so yeah, all this is IK at the bottom here. So we're going to turn them all off to none. And you'll see that how that's going to go. All right. So there we go. So we should be set. Now let's go ahead and we're going to go from our target character here, and we're going to go to our asset browser. And these are the three different, well, actually two different animations that we have for them. So we've got our silly dancing. Let's double click that, and we'll see how this came out. So looks pretty good, I guess. So this hand is, her hands might be a little bit bent more, but basically we're good. The feet might be off a little bit. We can slide this down a bit, I think, as well. Let's see. Can see offset. Okay, there we go. So I think we've got the foot planted a bit better. Okay, so we've got some of that set up, and I think it's pretty good. We'll go ahead and check out the next one here. So we've got double click on that. We've got breakdance, footwork. So we're seeing the way he's going, the way she's going. Not too bad. There's some fine tuning we could probably do, but we'll go ahead and try that out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the retarget pose, and we're going to look to see where these are. I'm going to browse to asset. Actually, let me save this first. And then I'm going to browse to asset. So that's going to bring me over to where it's located. Then I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say retarget animation assets. I'm going to say duplicate and retarget animation asset blueprint. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring this up. And I need to choose my IK retargeter. So remember, we've got zombie to Quinn. There we go. And I want to create a little prefix here. So I'm going to say Quinn underscore, so it'll be Quinn underscore breakdance. And I want to change the folder that it's going to. So I'm going to click on change. I'm going to go into characters. I'm going to go into mannequins. And I'm going to go into animations for Quinn. And I will go ahead and say, okay. Once I've got that set up, I'm going to click on retarget. All right, and it's going to automatically bring me to where the destination is. So there it is. You can look, double click on the animation. You'll see that she's doing her thing. Go back over here again. And I want to go back to my retargeter and grab the silly dancing. I could have went just straight to the into my content browser, characters, mixamo, anims, and done that way as well. But I'm going to right click and I'm going to do the same. Retarget animation assets, duplicate it, and retarget animation assets. So bring this up again. I'm going to go back and grab my retargeter once again. Zom to Quinn. There we are. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to say Quinn underscore. I'm going to change this to the character mixamo, the mannequins, animations, Quinn. There we go. All right, and retarget. So we're running a little short on time, so I want to speed up a little bit here. So we've got that. So I'm going to go ahead and say save all, make sure everything's good. Now I did say we were going to do this again with him, so let me do that. Let me go back. Content. I'm going to go into characters, go into mixamo, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to animation, and I'm going to create another one of these IK rigs. And then this one, I'm going to say this is Zom. Let's do Zom to MetaHuman. Okay, Zom to MetaHuman IK rig. So we'll double click on that, bring it up. We're going to have to tell it which one we're looking at here. So we got our character. This is our. Now, really, it would be a lot faster just to do from Quinn to MetaHuman because they're very similar. You don't have to really change much. But just to go through this again, I want to go through this process one more time. So this is my root. Hips are root. And actually, wait a minute. Let's say retargeter. No, it's a rig. Okay, so yeah, we're not going to MetaHuman on the rig. This is, let me rename this. It's a rig, IK rig. It's not going to MetaHuman. Apologize. So I'm just going to say Zom to IK rig. There you go. That's more accurate. All right. So here's our IK rig. We're doing this again. We've got our hips set. We've got our spine. And then we're going to set a new target chain. And this time I'm going to add chain and goal. And give it solver for the full body IK. And so now we've got a full body IK solver here. We can choose other ones as well if we want to do single ones. I'm going to do one for neck. Target chain neck. Not sure if we need a goal for this one. We'll try it. We'll see what happens. Okay, and then we're going to do a head one. New target chain, add chain and goal. Then we're going to do left shoulder. Okay, chain and goal. Well, this is not going to be the shoulder. Remember, this is going to be clavicle. All right. Then we're going to go to left arm to left hand. And this time around, I'm actually going to grab my the first three, my left index, the first three, So I'm leaving out the fourth bone on each one of these. Left middle, the first three, left ring, the first three, and left pinky, the first three. So with this, we can actually right click and say, add new target chain. And it knows that since there's, they're not all part of the same hierarchy, it's going to bring them up separately. So this time for the arm, yes, I do want, oh wait, the thumb is in there. I don't know if this will work. That will, let's see how that works. Chain and goal. Okay, so now this one is the index. So I'm going to call this index. I may not have that. That thumb may have, that may cause a problem. We'll see. So left index. And then this one's the middle finger. So we're going to go ahead and say left middle. Chain and goal. The next one is the ring finger. Next is pinky. Chain and goal. And that should be that. So now it's populating these over here. So it might take a moment. So now we've got these goals, and some of these we may not need. As I said, really it's the arms and the legs, you know, like the feet and the hands that mostly are going to want this. So once this is finished calculating, it's going to bring all these in. So this is one reason why it's sometimes good to do these individually, because it's doing a lot of calculations right now. It's creating goals for everything, all the fingers. Hopefully this will complete quickly. And we can mirror the arm as well. But I did find that there is a little bit of a glitch. I'm not sure. Okay, so that's completed. So if I want to mirror these, it may not pick up the goals, I found. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and let me see. Let's try it out with the with just the. Let's see. So let's do the leg real quick here. So we've got the left leg to foot. And I'm going to say new target chain and left leg, chain and goal. And then let's try this out. Let's see. So if I do left leg, right, okay, again, I'm clicking at the edge there. I'm going to say mirror chain, and I'm going to say right leg, add chain and goal, using goal. Okay, so I think what it did there is it actually put my left leg goal. That's what I was worried about. So I'm going to take this right leg and delete that. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the so we're running a little short on time. So I want to actually I'm gonna just leave this the way it is right now, and I want to get into the other thing. So if we have time in the course lab, I'll come back to that. So the next thing we want to do is we want to have we want to deliver. So we've got one that delivers the animations to her. Now we want to deliver them to her. So I'm going to create a new IK retargeter. And this retargeter is going to be from Quinn to MetaHuman. IK retargeter. All right. And then I'm going to say, what's my origin? My initial one, that's going to be the IK mannequin. And then the source is going to be the MetaHuman. And so here we go again. We've got the targeter, we've got the character offset. I'm going to bring it out like that. Now there, change to Quinn as the preview mesh. So now we're both in the A pose, so we're good, and everything is already set with the IKs. We just need to go and we want to see that the target, see not much changes. So with the target pose here, I look and see root, spine, head, arm metacarpals are, I think, fine for them because I believe they have that as well. Let's check and see the target skeleton. So the source skeleton has metacarpals, target skeleton has metacarpals. So I think we're good. Left, middle, index. We got some hand goals in there. We got some foot goals in there. So I So let's go ahead and go to our asset browser. So we've got man, female walk. Let's go to click that, and we can see that they're both doing pretty good. We could make some fine adjustments if we want. You also see that her hips are a little wider than hers, so her hands are swinging a little close there. So if I want to be careful with that, I can select in the chain mapping. I can look at her hands. Let's see. So I can take the hand goal and both of them, and I can say go to it's a rotational offset and rotation alpha 0.5. Let's see, rotation alpha. I can try changing this to 0.7. And that kind of gives a little bit of a rotation offset. That's not really what I want to do, though. I noticed that kind of helps that process. But I may want to affect IK. Let's see here. No, that's not it. We'll try the global settings. We'll do, so that's the stride warping section. Let's see, I just kind of want to scale her chain mapping roots. Translation horizontal. Swinging out a little bit different. Maybe this one here, translation offset. Trying to remember where it was here. We've got, maybe it's this way. Oh, okay, maybe, did I try this one already? Let's see. I think it's swinging out a little bit more. Anyway, we can adjust these ever so slightly. Maybe I need to do one at a time here. But regardless, it looks like it's doing pretty well. So let's go ahead and stop that, and we'll go to the asset browser. We're almost at the hour here. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the browse to asset. And I'm going to, I can take actually all of these, now that these are all, these have all been, so we've got the two from the Mixamo character, and we've got walk, run, and idle. So we can right click there and we can do all these at once, duplicate and retarget. We're going to grab that one we were just working with there. which is the Quinn to MetaHuman IK Retarget. And so there it is. And let's go ahead and do MetaHuman underscore, and we'll place these in the characters. All right, so we'll go to MetaHumans and Victoria. Actually, let's go into common. I don't see an animation folder here. So let's just create a new folder inside of mannequins and call it anim. And we'll put them there. All right, and so we'll retarget those. All right, and so now we've got all that. Let's go ahead and save all. And let's create a, let's do a cinematics folder. Cine. And we'll create a new level sequence. And then I usually like to do SEQ for the preview or the prefix, and then we'll just do test for now. And then we'll open this up. And first thing we're going to do is let's add characters one by one. So I'm going to add my actor sequencer character, zombie guy, and I'm going to put in his fancy footwork there. Let's start him off with silly dance. And he's going to do that until about when it stops. Looks like it goes for a while. All right, so we're going to go till it stops. Okay, so he just stops right about there. All right, and then I'm going to add another animation in here for his footwork. And then we'll just kind of clip it there. And we'll do the same for her. We're going to add her to the sequencer. Then we're going to add an animation. We're going to do silly dance first. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. So let me bring it to the beginning. I'm going to grab her control rig, delete that, and I'm going to go animation, and I'm going to do silly dance. So Quinn silly dance until right about there. Not doing it perfect, but and then I'm going to go ahead and add another animation. This is going to be the break dance, Quinn break dance. There we go. They're not totally synchronized, but anyway, so there we go. And we're going to do MetaHuman, add her in, and we're going to delete her control rig. And under body, we're going to add an animation track, and we'll do silly. There we go. And we're going to take it to right about there. And we'll add break dancing. And there we go. So we've got all of them synchronized doing all the stuff.